Hey guys, how's it going? So in this video, we'll be making a game for Android, um, and that's gonna be something similar to Mario using Gemini, or rather Gemini Pro, because I have the Pro model of Gemini. So let's just jump right into it. So the prompt that I'm gonna do is I want to create a game for Android similar to Mario. Should be a very simple project. Let's get rid of simple project. Um, and we'll start with only 3 to 5 levels, with the ability to expand later. More levels later. Okay. So also this shouldn't be an exact Mario replica since I do want to publish it later on the Play Store. Help me get started on the project. I already have. See, I got Unity 6.5, so let me just copy this. Installed Unity 6.5 on my Windows PC. All right. So to get your 2D side scroller off the ground without hitting roadblocks when you expand or publish later, you need a modular architecture from day one because you want to publish to the Play Store eventually, avoiding hard-coded assets and ensuring your level design is decoupled from your core mechanics is essential. So here is the blueprint to get your project started in Unity 6. Project setup in Android Target. Before writing code, configure your project settings to avoid migration headaches later. So switch platform. Okay, so let me get into Unity projects and let's do a new project. Um, Unity side scroller. Is that an option? Universal 2D. Okay, I think I should just so answer in one sentence. Should I select Universal 2D uh, for the new project, right? So I'm assuming that's the case for the project in Unity. Actually, alrighty, so let's start with that. Unity uh, for your Unity project name. So let me name this. Let's call it Gemini or Gemio. Let's go with Gemio since it's like Mario, but it's gonna be create. Gemini is assisting me, so let's go with Gemio. Let's see how long it takes. Okay, whatever. Wait for it to spin up. All right, so that ended up taking a long time. Okay, but let me get back to this. Okay, so now Unity's up and running. So, all right, so step one, project setup in Android targets. So switch platform, go to File, Build Settings, Android, and switch platform. Basically, I'll follow these instructions, so just bear with me here. So File, settings. Let's see, build settings, so build profile maybe. I don't know. This is why I hate working with AI sometimes. It gives you instructions that are just not there. Okay. And I don't have a whole lot of game development or Unity experience, so just bear with me here. Maybe add build profile, Android. Nah, can't be it. File. Okay. Gotta do a screenshot. Tell your Gemini. There is no build settings under file. So let's see what it says. Okay, build profile. And no need to provide one line answers going forward. Return to normal. I build profiles, Android, switch platform. Okay. So let's go back in there, build profiles. Available platforms. I guess just Android, add build profile. Okay, I'll pause until this is done. Alright, that didn't take too long. So Android and cannot build player. Okay. So let's wait until it's done. Okay, okay, there we go. It's still compiling. Alright, looks like it's done and saying active, so I guess I gotta I don't see a switch profile, so let me just ask Gemini what's going on. Oh, sorry about that. I don't see switch platform button. Okay. So yeah, that's what I suspected. All right. In the build profile, okay, select Android, select switch platform button. Okay. Configure. Okay, let's go back to steps two. Okay, so switch platform, go to edit. Let's go back up in here. Edit project settings, package manager, or player. Ensure you're using the new input system package. Okay, I'll just walk through those steps. Okay, so hopefully you guys saw what's there. If not, just follow along, I guess. So edit project settings, package manager. Um, there we go. Sure you're using the new input system package. Standard for Unity 6. Input system package looks like it's a different one. I guess if it's default for Unity 6, I'll just assume that it's already there, which makes handling both mobile touch controls and keyboard debugging seamless. Okay, cool. Um, Resolution in the game view, switch the aspect ratio to a mobile standard like 19:9 landscape. Okay. And the game view. Um, I'll do 18:9 if that's cool. Okay. So could I scale it down a little so I see the whole thing? Okay, cool. All right, so 19:9 is no longer an option, so I'm just going with 18:9. All right, so now let's go to step 2. Just scalable level architecture to make adding levels later as simple as dropping in a new scene. Avoid linking scenes directly in your level scripts. Instead, use a data-driven approach with scriptable objects to manage your level progression. So create a script named leveldata.cs. So okay, all right, and what I'll have to do here is I assume I have little experience with Unity, so walk me through where exactly to add that script. At the bottom left of your screen. Okay, I'll just read it on the other screen I got, and just you can watch me do it. So, look at the bottom left of your screen at the project window. You'll see a folder named Assets. I see it right here or here. Um, right click on the empty gray space and hover over to create, select folder, and type scripts. Okay, so that sounds easy. Create folder, and let's name this script. Okay, and get in here. Get the level data script file. Create should be script C# empty. Okay, there we go. And that should be named. As if this is too slow for you, just change the playback speed. Yeah, naming this level data.cs. Okay, and okay, so I got the level data.cs file inside assets script. So let's open this up in our editor. I got VS Code. So, and now I'll just copy this guy. Let's just go over it using Unity engine, class level data, scriptable object. It's got the level name, scene name is unlocked, and high score. Okay, so let's just copy. All right, and paste it here. Save the file. All right, and let's minimize this. Okay, so now we got this. Create a list script or scriptable object that holds an array of level data. Main menu UI will read from this database to generate buttons dynamically, and your game manager in menu UI will read from this database to generate buttons dynamically, and your game manager will read it to know which scene to load next. When you want to add level 6 later, you just create a new level data asset and add it to the list. Okay, sounds good to me. Um, okay, so yeah, these guys assuming I know everything about development and just giving me instructions like that, but okay, I have to say, okay, so save, okay, back to Unity, how to use, okay, let's go back here, how to use the script, because we added the create asset menu, this guy at the top, the code you now have expanded Unity's game editor menus, you can now create level data files directly inside your projects folders, without needing to write more code to see it in action. Create a new folder. Okay, yeah, this is getting too convoluted. So this is getting too convoluted. Let's break down the step-by-step thing, things I need to do to build this game from the ground up. I have completed steps one. Let me just go back in there. And two. Um, and I have created the level data.cs script. Now let's break down what I have to do from here up to creating a playable level one. And once we have a high level understanding of the steps, we can dive deeper into each portion later. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Camera constraints where the camera so what the player sees. Okay, that's the game. All right, so yeah, let's go with stage one. Okay, let's start with stage one. All right, now I'll just follow, and you can see the steps I take. So look at the hierarchy window on the left side of your screen. This guy. Right click on the empty space and hover over 2D object. Go to the tile map submenu and select rectangular. Hi parent. So you'll see two new objects appear in your hierarchy, a parent named grid and a child object named tile map. So yes, exactly what we would expect. Now set up physics. Click on the tile map game object in your hierarchy. So let's click on this guy. Look over at the inspector window on the far right. This is the inspector. Click add component button at the bottom. All right. Type tile map collider 2D. So this guy. Click add component a second time. Composite collider 2D, and we're going to select that. Was this already there? Or okay, yeah, never mind. Okay, this automatic, so the composite collider 2D automatically added the rigid body 2D component as well, which is normal. So I got a little confused there. Look at the rigid body 2D component that just appeared. Change its body type from dynamic to static. So let's go ahead and do that. If you miss this step, your entire floor will fall into the abyss due to gravity when you press play. So don't miss this. Looking back at the tile map collider 2D component and check the box that says used by composite. So used by composite. I don't see a used by composite. So let me tell Gemini that I don't see a used map composite. So I don't see used by composite. Uh, so let's follow the alternative instructions here. Closely at your tile map 2D component, find the line that says composite operation. Okay, this guy. Um, Change it from none to merge. Okay. Selecting merge does the exact same thing as the old used by composite checkmark. It tells the composite collider 2D below it to cleanly fuse all your individual floor tiles into one smooth, continuous collision surface. Once that's set to merge, the physical floor is officially ready. You can proceed to the other steps. Okay, so let me just go back there. Okay. And now step 3 is assign the ground layer. Our player's movement script needs to know. Let me just show you the Gemini screen. Okay, so we're here. Player's movement script needs to know exactly what counts as a solid ground to allow jumping. So let's follow along with your tile map still selected. Tile map is still selected. Look at the bottom of the inspector window. Click on the layer drop-down menu. It currently says default. Layer drop-down menu to layer overrides, I guess. And select add layer. Look at the very top of the inspector window, okay? Um, Click the layer drop down menu and select add. Oh, okay, this guy right here. Add layer. Interesting. In the list that appears, find an empty slot like user layer 6 or 7. Okay. And type ground. Click back on your tile map object in the hierarchy. Okay. Go back to layer drop down at the top of the inspector and select your newly created ground layer. So this one right here. Okay. Now paint your level 1 layout. So we've done step 3. Let's go to step 4. Unity 6 comes with default built-in sprites we can use right away for placeholder shapes. So let's go ahead and do that. In the top menu bar of Unity, go to Window, 2D, Tile Palette. You can drag and dock this window anywhere you'd like. Um, so it says docking it next to your inspector project window works well. So yeah, let's do that maybe. I dock it here. Okay, cool. Um, create new palette drop down and create one. Name it main palette. Um, click on create and save it in your assets folder when prompted. So, okay, save it here. Okay, cool. In your project window at the bottom, right click. Okay, in your project window at the bottom, right click, create. So project window, create 2D sprite square. Okay, might as well just paste it here. I wasn't sure where to create this folder, but guess I can just do it here, right? So, whatever. Yeah. Create 2D sprite square. Okay, 2D sprite square. And name this file square tile. Okay. Square tile is here. Drag your new square tile asset from the project window and drop it directly into your open tile palette window. What? Drag your new square tile asset from the project window. Tile palette. Okay. Okay. Um, it will ask you to save a tile asset. Just save it in your assets folder. So that's where we are. And just square dot asset. All right. Select the brush tool at the top of the tile palette window. So this guy. Okay. Um, select the brush tool at the top of the tile palette. Click on your square tile and then start left clicking directly in your main scene view. Interesting. Okay. So let me go here. Um, oh, cool. Paint your floor. A couple of elevated platforms and a gap in the floor for a pit. Okay, interesting. So let's do this. Um, leave a gap there. Cool. Very cool. Maybe just leave two gaps like that. Okay. Alright, so click on your square tile, start left clicking directly into your main scene view to paint your floor. A couple of elevated step platforms. Okay, okay. So maybe some of these, yeah. Alright. Alright, so I have done steps 1 through 4. Now let me drop a screenshot and see what Gemini has to say. So let me capture a screenshot. Go back in here. I have completed steps 1 through 4 as instructed. What do you think? Does it look good? Or did I miss anything? Okay, so that looks excellent. You've set up the tile palette, successfully generated your placeholder sprites, and painted a great test layout complete with the steps and a pitfall gap. Didn't miss a thing for stage 1. However, looking at your hierarchy window at the left, you can see an asterisk next to your scene name, sample scene. This means your progress hasn't been saved yet. Okay, cool. So we gotta save it, and once you have saved, we can move directly into stage 2. Um, so we'll get into that. Let me just go and save this file. All right, cool. Okay, what are we at? All right, stage 1 completed. So now let's do stage 2, the player. So, okay, the first thing we're going to do is create the player game object. Right click on an empty space inside. Okay, we'll just walk through them. And if you want to read the instructions, you can just pause the video and read it yourself. But otherwise, I'll just continue the work. So right click on an empty space inside your hierarchy window. Um, Select 2D object, sprites, square. So this is going to be our player. Uh, Capsule. You know what? Do you guys? I think I prefer a capsule instead because we already have square objects for the floor. So let's do a capsule for the player. If you prefer a rounded shape, change its name immediately to player. In the inspector window on the right, look at the transform component, set its position field to 0 to 0. So 0, let's do 2 and 0. Okay. So it drops right above your central platform. Okay. Seems about right. Okay. Now, add physics components. We need to give your block. Okay, let's just we're going to do these steps right here. You need to give your block weight and solid physical boundaries so it lands firmly on your tile map. So with your player object selected right here, click Add Component at the bottom of the inspector. All right, and we're going to do rigid body 2D. Inside the rigid body, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, inside the rigid body 2D settings, expand the constraints section. Constraints. Oh, check the box for freeze rotation Z. Okay. If you skip this, your player square will top over and roll like a dice when you hit a wall. So this is important. Freeze rotation Z. Okay. Look at collision detection and change it from discrete to continuous. So this guy right here. This keeps high-speed jumps from glitching through thin platforms. Okay. Click on Add Component again. And now we're going to do Box Collider 2D. Actually, this is going to be Capsule Collider 2D, since we picked a capsule, not a box. Yeah. The ground check child object, so that is step 3. The movement code checks a small area at the player's feet to determine if they're grounded before allowing a jump. So right click directly on your player object and select create empty. Okay. Name this new child object ground check. Okay. And its transform component, change its Y position to 0.5 or negative 0.5. Then it shifts the point right to the bottom edge of your player's square sprite. So let's create and attach the script. We'll use a revised. This is step 4. Okay. So we will use a revised, streamlined character-controlled script written cleanly for Unity 6 as input architecture. So go to your project window at the bottom. Double click on your script folders or scripts folder. Right click and select create scripting C# script. And name it exactly player controller and hit enter. All right, let's wait for it to do its thing and then double click, enter in your editor. And what we're going to do is copy this code. Let's see if we can. I think it goes over okay, it doesn't go over the code. So let's just quickly review what's going on here as much as I can, because I haven't really done a whole lot of coding with C# or much at all. So let's see, we got some properties here for movement, move speed, jump force. You got ground checkpoint, ground check size, ground layer. We got a rigid body 2D object RB. We got a float horizontal input. We got a boolean is grounded. Awake method, update method, fixed update method, on move method, on jump method, and on draw gizmos selected method. Okay, so let's just copy this code. We're gonna replace this guy. This is our this is our um, C# script. Save this file, and we can go back to Unity, let it do its thing. All right, and we can see our code right here. Drag your completed player controller script from the project folder and drop it right onto your player game object in the hierarchy. So grab this player controller script from the project folder and paste it on your player. Or just drag and drop, not paste. Just want to make sure everything looks good. Okay. So this is our script. We can see it right here. So let me, and that is the end of our um, steps. So let me take another screenshot and see what Gemini has to say. I have attached the script to the player. Um, okay, so all right. Hey, before we configure the controls, we need to quickly fill in the empty slots on your script component so the jump mechanics actually work. So let's just follow along. Let's do steps 1 and 2. Assign the script variable. So look at the player controller script component at the bottom right of your screen. Find the ground checkpoint field. This ground checkpoint, it says none. Click and drag the ground check child object from the hierarchy and drop it into that slot. So this guy, we can grab that. Wait, nope, not yet, not yet. Let's undo. So find the ground checkpoint field. This guy right here. It says none. Gonna grab him and drop it there. All right, now find the ground layer field. It currently says nothing. We're gonna change that to the ground object or the ground that we created for our tile map, right? So this guy. Okay. Now step 2, add the player input component. So now let's bridge your keyboard inputs into the script using Unity's modern input system. So with the player selected, um, click add component at the bottom of the inspector. So another component. Type player input and selected. Okay, there we go. On the new player input component, click on the create actions button. This will ask you to save as inputs file. Save it in your assets folder. Okay, so let's do one thing at a time. On the new player input component, click the create actions button. Create actions button. Let me see if I can find it. Where is the create actions button? I'm not seeing it. Okay, so let me go ahead and ask Gemini for assistance. I don't see such button. Okay, okay, so it's already done. It's always a few versions behind. That's why it sometimes trips up. Player inputs. All right. Okay, so now it's already done right here. So this is why I didn't have to do it. So now we got to change the behavior. Let's see. Change the behavior drop down from send messages to invoke Unity events. So behavior, send messages, invoke Unity events. There we go. Hey, wire up. So now we're going to move on to step 3. Wire up movement and jumping. Now we explicitly tell Unity's events to trigger your script's code. So you're going to follow these steps. Expand the events foldout section that appeared inside the player input component. So events, let's expand on that. Expand the player subsection right below it. Uh, player subsection right below it. See lines of move and jump. Expand the events and then click the small arrow to expand player subsection. I'm missing something, bro. If your instructions are this outdated, then it really becomes annoying. It's never easy when you're using a latest version of something, but see player subsection underneath events. Okay. I thought I just changed it, did I not? Look right above the behavior drop downs. Find the field that says default map. Default map. Okay. What's that part of the instructions? Did I miss something? Default map. Okay, map. You didn't tell me to change it, so I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, without a selected map, Unity doesn't know. Okay, change it to and select player. So this guy, gotta do player. Okay. Am I missing something? Events. Ah, there we go. Yay. Okay, cool. So now, um, events. Click the small arrow to expand the player subsection. This guy. And we'll see move and jump. Cool. Click the plus next to the move. Uh, Drag your player game object from the hierarchy on the left and drop it into the empty object slot. Okay, so player, drag it here. Okay. No function and select on move. So this guy just player controller and select on move. Okay, cool. So this is the function we're assigning this guy right here. Alrighty. And do the exact same thing for jump. So click on the plus button. Drag the player object. And we're gonna do the player controller on jump. Okay. Would be this guy right here. Okay. Okay. Once those two are wired up, hit the play button at the top of Unity and test your A or D keys and spacebar. Let me know if your capsule drops down and moves properly. So let's hit play. Cool. Okay, on the movement's happening, but the jump is not. So that's very interesting, right? Very interesting. All right. So what's going on with the jump? Let's see. Advanced player, player controller on jump. Let's try one more time. Yeah, spacebar is not doing anything. So I don't know what's up with that. All right, let's ask Gemini. A and D keys are moving the player right and left, but spacebar is not doing anything. The player does not jump. Okay. I'll have to pause for a few and take a quick break. I'll be back. Okay. Right. I am back. So let's get back to debugging. And I didn't really care for the response that Gemini gave me just now. So let me just click play first. Okay. And now let me do the screenshot because I think it saw the player at the top and it's thinking that the capsule's height where your ground checkpoint is looking to since you okay, maybe. Let me just follow the instructions anyway. And capsule collider 2D. Thinks about the size and thinks about okay. Oops. Alright, so ground checked objects. Let me just follow the instructions. So I'll just follow these right here. Select the ground check object under the player. Look at its transform component. Um, Look at its transform component in the inspector on the right. Transform. Okay. Change the position Y field from 0.1 to -1. Okay. So this guy position should be -1 instead of -0.5. Confirm this worked perfectly. Click back on your player object in the hierarchy. Look at your uh, and look at your center scene view window. Okay. Because of the debug code in the script, you should now see a small green wireframe box appear at the very bottom edge of your capsule feet. Okay, yeah, I do see something there. All right. Now let's hit play and see if that did the trick. Yes, it did. And it jumps pretty high actually. That's really cool. So yeah, I'm doing the space bar. But I mean, it's pretty fun to play around with, but the jumps are pretty massive and uh and the gap is you can just pretty much walk over the gap. So, needs to be some debugging there, but this is not bad. This is an interesting start. So anyway, we'll continue to build, but I think this is it for this video, and I'll see you on the next one.